brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas and we have wonderful guests. And my wonderful guest today is Mr. Ismael Perez, who has been on the show before, but he's here today with the release of his new book. So he's going to give us a heads up on that. Welcome.
Hi, Gail. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you. I'm
Wonderful,
happy.
wonderful.
I'm happy that you have a new book out. That's exciting.
Yes, it is. This is actually the prequel to our cosmic origin. And when I first came to the scene, I did mention that I had written a book about 17 years ago in 2008 called The Secret Government.
Oh, that's
And yeah, so apparently that book went out of circulation because of the fact that I revealed too much information regarding the suppressed history of our world, the operations of secret societies. And to our, I guess, surprise, I also talked about the history of the White Hats before, of course, 45 Donald J. Trump came into the scene. I was talking about the entire history, but in this book, I actually refer to them as the White Knights, not the White Hats. So, it reveals this age-long battle between the good guys and the bad guys in this book. It's an intense eye-opener. It goes really in-depth to specific dates, figures, members, and all of those people that were involved in these secret societies that have been fomenting and orchestrating every event known to men, of course. And, back then, everybody thought I was a conspiracy theorist. So it didn't do very well. But again, it got into the hands of somebody that was connected to the globalist. And they told me I couldn't reveal the information in this book because it was just, it was exposing all of their workings. And and to me, that was, okay.
Obviously, they have something to hide, right?
Yeah, apparently. So that's when I knew that I was onto something. And here I am, 14, 15 years later. I've been working so hard to re-release it, republish it, and it's only $24. I know that some of the people have been trying to order this book for the last 2 years, ever since I came to the scene, and that book has been selling for $500. And believe it or not, there's people out there that really wanted to read that book, so they ended up buying it for $500. But I'm letting everybody know that this is a better version that has been re-edited, restructured. And again, if you guys really want to know about what's been going on, not just here in the last few years, in the last centuries, but over a period of thousands of years, this is the book to read. It's definitely a mind opener.
Yes. Did it come up?
Yeah, there it is. I see it.
Yeah. And then this is a picture from Amazon. And so his book's available on Amazon. And I just wanted to put that up there so people could see it more closely. And I can switch the page too, and on the back it's about you a little bit. And do you and there it's talk, this government unveils most eye-opening revelations. Now, is that the SCS or is that something else?
SCS, what do you mean by that?
The secret, that is another.
Oh, yes. I actually renamed it to The Secret Government, Invincible Architects, Secrets, Powers, and Lies.
Okay.
So that's the right one. Make sure that, if people are wanting to order this one, which is only $24, all you have to do is type in The Secret Government, Invincible, Architects, Secrets, Powers, and Lies, and you will get the new edition.
All right. So, and there it is. That's what you can look for.
Yes, yeah, it's on Amazon, but it's also on my website, ourcosmicorigin.com. If you guys go to my website, ourcosmicorigin.com, you could also access the book there. There's a direct link from my website.
Yes, I have in the description of this video when it's complete. It has website as well as the some of his other links. So the information is there for you to.
All my platforms, all my links to all my real social media accounts, because there are a lot of pirated channels that are pretending to be me. So if you guys really want to reach my real platform, go through my website. All of the proper links are there. And this book is so much. There is so much knowledge in this book. It is as mind-blowing as our cosmic origin was. That's how good this is.
Awesome. Well, guess what? You got a question already. Somebody is asking you where. Ask him how he researched and found all this information about the Dark Cabal 17 years ago.
Oh, that is a very good question. So ever since I was 16 years old, I was, addicted to finding the truth about everything. So when I was 16, that's when I first discovered the truth about secret societies and how our world is being run and how it really operates. And so that's when my journey began, when I was 16 years old. And I started researching. The deeper I would go into the rabbit hole, the deeper I wanted to go into the rabbit hole. So it was an addiction at first. I guess it still is, because I'm still trying to figure things out. Even as much as I know, I'm always learning.
Seriously.
That's the beauty of life, right? There's always going to be more to learn. Nobody, he or she who says they know everything is full of, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So my journey began, in my adolescence, and luckily I was born with a photographic memory, so I was able to read over 200 books,
wow.
Each one just, revealing one aspect of the shadow government, or talking about this perspective, or just focusing on this perspective. So I was able to read all of those books and consolidate all that information into just one manuscript, where you don't have to read all those books. But I did put the references in the back. This one actually has references. I was also able to read documents, a lot of classified information that I was able to remote view through my abilities. As a super soldier, that was one of my abilities that I was able to do. So just like that mechanic guy who hacked into the government server when he discovered that there was a secret space program, I was also able to confirm a lot of the information that's revealed in this book, on top of the 200 other books that I read. And believe it or not, some of these people that wrote these other books unfortunately had a disappearance, or they said, oh, they killed themselves. Of course, that's what they do. But back in 2000, in the early 2000, everybody that was talking about this was getting taken out. So what I did in my book is I dedicated this book to all of those heroes, all of those way showers, all of those defectors from the cabal that decided to leave the organization to expose them. I wanted to thank them for what they did in the past. And now, it's all captured in this book. So I'm sure as they are looking down upon me from a higher realm, they're thinking, okay, at least our work didn't go to waste. At least somebody captured it and put it together in one manuscript where everything is revealed about the shadow government, everything that people need to know about the shadow government and more. So
that's awesome. And it's lucky that you escaped their knowledge that you had or had discovered too.
Well, they did contact me. They tried to seduce me. They said, if we could get you to join us, we will make you a Hollywood star. And back then I was in my early 20s, so I was, still young and attractive, and they wanted me to be the next Brad Pitt. But yet I had to, let go of information like this, and I said no. When they tried to,
good for you. Good for you.
I completely turned them down. And I believe, Gail, that I have special protection. Even when I first published this book, my buddies were like, aren't you scared that you're going to disappear? Because you're literally throwing everybody under the bus. Like, it's not just the cabal that you're revealing, but you're literally giving details. The people who were involved in the what happened in 2001, right, with the
Yes.
Twin Towers. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know if you're broadcasting on Fluff-Tooth, but I'm going to say
yeah, it is. Fluff-Tooth is on. I have one left that I had after they took my big channel down. I came up with two, and they already took one of those down. Now I know why people have about a couple dozen YouTube channels, but basically they're the enemy because they don't want the truth to get out, and that's how I see it. And
exactly.
That's why I prefer Rumble, and I try to encourage people to go to Rumble. But unfortunately, on Rumble, you can't ask the guests questions, and people do like that interactive ability to be able to ask questions. So when you found out all this information, I think it is absolutely a beautiful thing that you dedicated it to those who have died in the process of trying to reveal the truth to the masses. That's a wonderful thing. Well, we got another question for you. Okay, and this is from Monica, and she's asking, the white knights, you said those at the white hats now. Joe, do you connect the two? Joe, it's not Joe. Do you connect the two and explain in your book how this took a turn from past to present day alliance?
Well, I guess what she's trying to say is to make the connection, because in my book, I call them the White Knights. It wasn't until 2020 when somebody first coined the word white hat, right? We had Q, we had Anonymous, right? The Great Awakening in 2016, and people were beginning to wake up from their programming, and they were beginning to understand that there was a counter force that was counteracting the globalist, known as the white hats. Well, in my book, back in 2008, because I didn't know the term white hat, but I knew that there was a counteract, that there was a counter group that was fighting the globalist, also working from behind the scenes through their own, ways of isolating themselves in secret. The brotherhoods, as I reveal in my book, always operate in secret, right? It's like a chess game to these guys. So in my book, I refer to them as the White Knights. And this has a lot to do with the, who the White Knights have been throughout history. Of course, we hear about Lincoln being a White Knight who was also assassinated by the Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah.
We hear about Andrew Jackson, who was a White Knight who blocked the implementation of the Federal Reserve in the 1850s, I believe, or 1840s, when they, the cabal has always been trying to infiltrate us from within through the central banking system. So this is the fact that they were so successful in at the beginning of the 1900s, and what was it, 1913, 1914, with the onset of the First and Second World War, which, by the way, was also fomented by the same people, and I describe it in detail here.
And what are they trying to do to us now?
And they're trying to do to us now, exactly. So this effort in taking over America and dissolving our Constitution has been going on since day one. So, like I said, in this book, I describe who the White Knights have been throughout history, right? Our founding fathers were obviously White Knights. The whole battle between Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton was a battle between the White Hats and the cabal. Alexander Hamilton wanted to exercise more central government, more centralized control, give all the power to the federal government and less to the states, which again would lead into a dictatorship. And Thomas Jefferson would fight him and argue with him and say, no, we have to honor the Constitution and give each and every state their own sovereignty, as stated in the Constitution. And so we see this struggle between the cabal and the White Knights, and even before the inception and establishment of our own country. In fact, I dedicate a whole chapter in this book, chapter 8, to the secret history of the White Knights and their association, get this, with the Melchizedek Brotherhood. So if you want to go back to the fall of Atlantis, well, the White Knights back then operated as the high priest and high priestess of the knowledge and protectors of the knowledge and teachings that were preserved throughout the millenniums and throughout the centuries. And a lot of that information regarding this this secret knowledge has a lot to do with our spiritual understanding of how the universe really works. So what I went ahead and did, Gail, is that I dedicated the last 2 chapters, step by step, how to undergo the 7 levels of initiation, which was something, which was something that was only passed on from master to student, right? Adept, mystic, wizard to apprentice, all throughout the last few thousand years.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Mhm.
I haven't had an opportunity to read the book, but I certainly will look forward to reading it, because that sounds fascinating. Where do you think we stand now? Is one side ahead of the other side, or are we going to beat these guys? Let me just put it that way.
Well, believe it or not, we are now in a position. Yes, we. What I mean by we, I mean as in the good guys. You know, the White Hats, the Earth Alliance. Now they're in a key position to, you know, dissolve the curtain and expose the big bad wizard. However you want to see that. Now they're in that key position. However, there has been several times within the last 20 years that the White Hats had many opportunities to implement and institute the Nasara law and fire all of those traitors, all of those treasonous, you know, Council on Foreign Relation, you know, controlled puppets of the NWO since 2001. So the initial plan was to reveal the truth to the American people right before the September 11 events. And of course, what does the cabal do? They completely orchestrate and foment the attacks in New York. That's all I'm going to say. Because in those, it is believed that the White Hats had accumulated a lot of data revealing the crimes against humanity. And they had document after document. And this was over 20 years ago, by the way, believe it or not. It's all recorded in here. It's all revealed in here. You know, it's part of the history of the White Hats. They were going to expose the cabal right before the 9/11 attacks. And so the cabal, in a desperate effort to maintain their stronghold over humanity and their, you know, their corporate America rule over the masses, they completely, you know, decided to destroy the towers that had all those documents. So that's why it's been taking the White Hats a while to rebuild their evidence against the cabal, you know.
And then they stole a whole bunch of money at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, how do you explain the trillions, right? That you know, what's his name, Donald Rumsfeld was talking about. That all of a sudden, you know, what was it, 300 billion? I think it was about 300 billion, right? They had no track of 300 billion, and not to mention a lot of I don't want to use the word anomalies, because I'm sure that this whole thing was intelligently, perfectly devised, this whole event that took place. But a lot of the globalists were withdrawing their money from the stock market as well, and from I think it was the airline company. I'm not quite sure, but I knew. But days before the 9/11 attacks, there was a lot of shady stuff that took place.
Well,
that's what I'm going to say.
You know, I remember when that happened, and I was staying, renting a place from someone who had been in the military, and the first thing they said that was controlled demolition. There's no way the building would go down like that. So there are a lot of people that knew right out the gate.
That was controlled demolition. In fact, I know the guy who actually helped build those towers. I was able to use him as a reference in describing the 9/11 atrocities. If you let me read, I just want to give people a little insight, a little preview of what kind of information and much more is revealed in this book. So let's see, where's that part? 1 second. Because this is good. Okay, so all right, so another important and very vital reason why the secret government chose the destruction of the Twin Towers was that the North Tower, particularly the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th floors, contained massive documents unveiling the corruption of the Council on Foreign Relations, the Counterintelligence Corps secret government scandals, and all of the evidence needed to bring down the secret government cabal. This documents had been accumulated over time by the White Knights. I used to call them White Knights. Again, this was back in 2008.
No,
I think, who was it? It was Q, right? Who coined the word white hat back in 2016. So I call them the White Knights. These documents had been accumulated over time by the White Knights in government who have remained loyal to the original Blue Lodge that gave us our constitutional republic. Over time, even though they have kept their existence private, by the way, the White Hats or the White Knights have also used secrecy to devise their next plan against the cabal. You know, that's how these brotherhoods operate.
Well, it's like you can't tell your enemy the plans, but at the same time, we the people are sitting here. Can we please have some truth here? What's going on?
So these documents, which had gathered by the White Knights, had been investigated by the good functions of the FBI, revealing massive evidence against James Clifton, the CEO of the CFR in the year 2000. And by the way, that's the guy who was in charge of the Clintons and the Bushes. Him and Henry Kissinger, before George Soros came into power. Yeah. And a major key tool for the secret government. Imagine the type of reformations that would have occurred if these high-level treasonous scandals had been exposed and dealt with by no later than 2001. So that's just to give you a little example, but there's also a section here where I reveal, or at least I share, how the guy who built the Twin Towers went on record to say that the way those towers were built is that they were built in a way where they were able to withstand a collision with airplanes. Okay, they were built that way.
Oh wow! Yeah, and I can't believe how so many people fell for that. You know, those planes crashing in there.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's also believed that the way, and I'm sure by now, you know, everyone who's been out to, you know, learn the truth about what really happened, right, back in 2001. Obviously, that was planned demolition. You know, the way.
And didn't what was it, Larry Silverstein or something like that? He took out insurance on the buildings and he made multi-billion on the insurance after they went down, as if he didn't know. He knew what was going to happen. And they even had people of the Jewish persuasion told to leave or not to come to work that day. So there were some pretty evil things going on. And it's unfortunate that happened. But I like to believe there are more people that are aware that it was a big facade, really. I mean, it was a horrible thing to do, but they fooled us in how they did it.
Yeah, exactly. They've been playing us for centuries. You know, everything that has ever happened was perfectly laid down as a blueprint for world domination. In the last 300 years, and those are known as the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. And the Zionists and the Khazarians are one and the same. They're all run by the Rothschilds, the banking dynasties. Let's see, we have a question here. Are the Jesuits behind the cabal or Khazarians and Black Pope? Yes, actually, that is the missing link between the modern day attempt to establish the New World Order and the age-old effort to resurrect the Holy Roman Empire. Absolutely. So, yeah. So all roads lead back to Rome. You know, the secret society that's been running the Vatican has been at the core of what I call in my book the Luciferian Manifesto. Luciferian.
Good question, Monica. Good couple questions. Thank you for that. It's just amazing. Now, I heard, and I don't know if this is true, maybe you can answer this. I heard just recently that they're all run by the Black Sun, the good guys and the bad guys. That doesn't make sense to me, but they said that the good guys were.
No, the good guys are not run by the Black Sun.
I wouldn't
the good
think
guys
so.
are actually, the good guys are actually, they're part of an ancient brotherhood, believe it or not, that could actually go back to the battle between Enki and Enlil.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, that's how old this age-old plot or this age-old brotherhood, battle between these two brotherhoods goes back to. In fact, we could actually trace the same drama that is unfolding now back to the same drama that collapsed Atlantis. It was the same drama, but this time we're in a key position where the Earth Alliance and the White Knights are, and also according to the prophecies, right? The prophecies also talked about how this world was given over to the rule of Satan, metaphorically speaking, the dark side. Their rings of power is done with. All right. So every ancient account talked about a time where the end ring of the dark would end and the beginning of a new era as a result of the transition of power from the dark to the light. A new dawn, a golden age would emerge.
And that's where we're at.
That's where we're at. Exactly. That's where we're at. That's why I think that this book was probably not meant to, come out back in 2008. That's like, 16 years ago. I think by then people were still asleep. People would have just called me a conspiracy theorist. But now,
they still do that.
but now people could read this book and I mean, it's dense. Like everything that the writers, that the victors of history that rewrote history, everything that was left out of the history books and more is in this book. So,
did you get more of your information from books in the library or more from things online? Or
I went to both, but just to give you an example of some of my references, to show you guys that this book has all the references in the back.
That's beautiful.
I'm not making anything up. And like I said, about 70% of these people had a mysterious disappearing where they said, oh, they killed themselves. They were suicidal. Yeah, right. But,
shot in the back, right?
But again, these people, wrote their documents or their papers back in like 1986. Some document goes back to 2001, 1988. 1984, 1958, I was able to research a document revealing the 50 years in the Church of Rome from an ex-Jesuit priest by the name of Charles Chenique. And Charles Chenique, also with another ex-Jesuit priest, Alberto Rivera, were able to, in 1986, they published Chick publications to expose the missing element of this Luciferian agenda, because most people only knew about the Illuminati, but nobody knew the connections to the Vatican. So I was able to gather all of this information from all of my references and resources to put the whole picture together and in biblical perspective.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Oh, we got another question here. Ismael, are you in contact with the White Hat Alliance?
Well, I work with the Galactic Alliance. So in that regard, no, not on a physical level, but on an interdimensional level, the Galactics are working in collaboration with the White Hat Alliance, yes. So we are all working together, absolutely. But I am more connected with the Galactic Federation of Worlds, or now as they are reorganized as the Galactic Alliance.
Okay. Well, we have since every time we have gotten close to having our slavery abolished, it seems that they do something. And we're right at the precipice again now. And a lot of people seem to think that something is going to happen on the eclipse. What is your take on that?
I just did a whole live about that last night on my.
Oh, did you? I didn't see it.
Yeah, my YouTube channel, The Real Ismael Perez. If you guys want to check that out,
Okay.
it's pretty informative. I was also able to share a transmission that came through from the Galactics regarding the 8th of April. There's a lot of speculation around that date. People think that due to the 7 cities, Nineveh, that
And Jonah,
equator, right? That the eclipse is going to overshadow, and then also due to the 7 cities called Salem, right? That it overshadowed what was back in 2017, right? That's when we had the last solar eclipse. I think it was October 21st, 2017, exactly 7 years ago. So you have 7 cities back then, Salem. You have 7 cities called Nineveh, and then there was a 7-year period between those 2 solar eclipses. And then, of course, based on ancient prophecies and ancient predictions, and based on what has happened in the past, every time a solar eclipse, came through, weird stuff.
Weird stuff. Yeah.
Weird stuff.
Well,
But
we have 777, which is a very good spiritual number.
that's actually God's number, which means
Yeah.
completion. It stands for completion.
So I like to think that's where we are at as well. Now, I know that I did have one man on Alberto who prophesied that some of the things that the cabal plan to carry out that are in the Bible, the Revelations, all those nasty, awful things are not going to happen. That once we get through this year, the 2024, it'll be all so much better afterwards. It will be really ascending at that point, starting to ascend. So I hope he's correct. Because at some point their plans have to be foiled, and I do think that pulling the financial rug out from under them has a great deal of impact.
Absolutely.
Because back 1913, wasn't that when they sunk the well, it wasn't really the Titanic, but they sunk the ship because there were 3 guys on there who opposed the Federal Reserve.
Something that's one of my references is the Creatures of Jekyll Island, written by what's his name, Griffin, Edward Griffin.
Edward Griffin. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, boy, he was talking about this a long time ago.
Yeah, he was. And that is correct, by the way. That ship was sunk because there were a few opposers against the establishment of the Federal Reserve. So who masterminded the sinking of that big boat? J.P. Morgan and gang.
Yeah. They're involved in child trafficking too.
Absolutely,
yeah. Somebody Jay Thought is wondering if her birthday aligns with an eclipse. What should your thoughts be?
Are you saying that your birthday's gonna be the 8th of April?
Really?
I wouldn't think anything about that. Who knows, man? Maybe that's a huge indicator that you're probably special. Perhaps, who knows? Perhaps.
Maybe you're going to wake up big time.
Well, I guess it's a good thing to have a birthday on a day when we are where the Earth is being influenced by celestial alignments. I mean, that's big. That is huge. It's rare to have solar eclipses. It's very rare, and I do believe that they do tie into prophecies. So some people might say, hey, we're in the tribulation. Some people say, hey, that's just a sign of the end of days. Well, it also determines how you interpret the end of days. I don't believe in the end of the world, religious conspiracy or religious propaganda, but I do believe in the transition of ages from the dark age into the golden age. And I describe that very well in this book. So awesome. Nothing to worry about. However, it's important to have 10 days or 2 weeks worth of food supplies. It's always best to be ready in case, again, the grid goes down, in case EBS goes down, or anything. It's best to have at least a couple of weeks of food supply and water, just in case, and of course a power generator.
Of course, if you're in an apartment, that's kind of hard to do. But so it could be very difficult for a lot of people. So anybody who does prepare can help the neighbors too. And that's what it's all about, is, working together for the good of everyone, or the good guys anyway. Let me put it that way. Now, I wanted to bring up the fact that we were talking about controlled demolition with the, back in 2001. It appears that the bridge that went down was also controlled demolition, because there were, bang points or whatever, flash points that showed that there were, that was, but there was talk, and I don't know if you have any insight on this. Was that from the Alliance? Because that was a hub of trafficking, human trafficking, child.
Yes. That was actually a warning to the cabal that their time is up. They're about to execute a mass arrest. So that was their way of saying F you to them. And in fact, how can I say this? A lot of the people that were driving on that bridge were actually key members of the the Khazarian mafia as well.
Oh,
So
really?
their way of also doing away with them. Of course, there were some casualties, but they were pulling off a job. They were trying to pull off a job, and a lot of the you could say key players that were driving through that bridge were very dark, and they did a lot of dark stuff in their past, of course.
Well, they're gone now. That's a good thing, right? I hope so. Anyway, is something wrong? What's the matter?
I think there might be a little earthquake here in California.
Oh, really? Oh, my goodness.
It's shaking just a bit. It's just going boom, 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 like this.
I was wondering, you're looking around, I'm going, uh-oh.
Yeah, because I'm looking at things move, and I'm thinking, this is interesting in the middle of a live.
Yeah, I at first I thought you were seeing an entity or something.
Oh, no. I was just noticing that my house was rattling.
Oh, wow. And where you're in, are you in LA?
I am.
Okay. Is that where you live now?
I've always
just there temporarily. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. Linnea is saying that, don't you think the whole world is in pain? Every country seems to have very difficult problems at the moment.
Yes, and that's all revealed in this book. All the suffering, all the, everything that has ever happened that is causing what I call, human suffering. It was all masterminded. It was all part of a narrative. And they know that narrative was only to run for a certain period of time. And that narrative is already, you could say it's done with. It's done with because a new paradigm is coming. A new paradigm is coming. And a lot of this also has to do with the celestial revolutions, right? As we end the age of Pisces, and right now we are in a cusp between the age of Pisces and the age of Aquarius. So for the last 5,000 years, for 2 ages, the Luciferian Brotherhood was given reign and control over this planet. And even Yeshua talked about that in the Bible, that the God of this world is Satan until what? The second coming, preceding the second coming. Well, again, the solar flash is the second coming when that activates the Christ mind in all of us. And that is scheduled to happen between now and no later than 2025, based on the transmissions that were given to me by the Galactics. But what I also know is that they know that we are in the cusp, and that's the reason why the torch of power is being handed over to the White Hats, and the dark side knew about this centuries ago. They knew that they had a certain amount of time to execute their agenda, and if they didn't, by the time their clock ran out, that they would be eliminated. And that's what's happening now, because this whole agenda that they've been trying to create goes back to ancient Babylon, and we see it over and over for the last 6,000 years. We see it over and over with the rise of the empires, with the reorganization of the Catholic Church. That was just the cabal reorganizing itself in 2,000 years ago, with the implementation of the Jesuits in the year 1501, 1513, to counteract the Reformation and the Renaissance, which was a move initiated by the White Knights. And guess who the White Knights were in medieval times? The Knights Templars.
Oh, okay. Did they get infiltrated, though? Because I've heard some other things about them as well.
Of them got infiltrated because, again, the two brotherhoods, they always infiltrate each other.
Yeah.
Like
the good guys infiltrate the bad guys and vice versa.
And I talk about that in this book. I even named key figures that were able to infiltrate the Vatican from within, that were working with the Knights Templars in opposition to the Vatican, right? They were trying to plot their destruction, right? The fall of the church and their grip over Europe. But of course, that led to other wars. So
it does seem, at least it appears to me, that especially in the recent past, what the cabal tries to do seems to backfire.
Yes.
It's just not going through like they hope it would, or it's not going as planned as they hope or planned. And so that's a really, that's refreshing, because I see that going on. Now, Kathy wanted to mention that she thinks P. Diddy being rated is significant with the trafficking. We will be moving forward faster. We got them running Do you think that's true?
Absolutely, yes. I think that's going to be the beginning of more disclosure regarding, the ring, the sexual rings and all that stuff.
Do you still believe the EBS? There's going to be an EBS, and they're going to put all this on people's TVs, computers, or phones, or whatever, so that everybody is forced to find out what happened, whether they want to or not.
That's something that Space Force has been working with Elon Musk to do so. They're getting ready to switch the internet from the cabal-run airwaves to the White Hats, and that includes all social media, by the way. All social media is going to be taken over by the White Hats too. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this because I'm revealing their next move, but yes, it is true that there is a project called Odin, and Project Odin is basically it's a military execution of the satellite systems by the White Hats, dismantling the cabal's control of the internet, the airwaves, the radio waves, and everything. So it's on its way.
Q Fei is asking, can humans be angels incarnate without being aware of it?
Absolutely. In fact, there is a huge influx of not only galactic extraterrestrials that decided to come and help Mother Earth, right? But there's also a group of angels above the physical galactics, angels that are just light beings that have also incarnated in human form. You can look at it like this. We live in a multidimensional spectrum, right? In the omniverse, the multiverse. Extraterrestrials are biological entities that exist in dimensions 1, 2, and 3. And then extraterrestrials are also part biological and part etheric that exist in dimensions 4, 5, and 6. And angelics, the angels, come from the realms of the 6, 7, and 8 dimension. And then if you want to get technical, the archangels come from the realms of 10, 11, and 12th dimension. So in that regard, yes, there are some angels, some archangels from the higher dimensions beyond the 5th or 6th that have also volunteered to come at this time and help Mother Earth. So this is what many teachings in the secret prophecies call the externalization of the spiritual hierarchy on the earth. All the ascended masters, that's what we are, right? The old souls have returned back into human form to usher in a new age, to help usher in a new era.
Yes, and they were really needed to bring the vibration of the planet up.
Absolutely, yeah, they were.
Because they have controlled and kept frequencies that kept people down because they feed off the negative frequency. That's really sad but true. Okay, so here's one more question. Did they ever inspect every shipping container from the last time the big barge got stuck? Oh yeah. They can read heat signatures, can't they?
They do. They have technology similar to X-ray where they can see through things. Absolutely.
Somebody's asking J Thought's asking, at which level does pain not exist?
That's a good question. Well, pain only exists because we have carbon-based genetics. Once we activate the crystalline genetics, which is pretty much our subtle light body, the beginning of our light body, because there's even more advanced, you could say, structures, vehicle structures beyond that, beyond crystalline. That's when we no longer have this meat suit of flesh and blood. We no longer age, and therefore we no longer feel pain. Yeah, the idea of feeling pain, physical pain especially, is directly associated with our meat flesh avatars. But so the crystalline body is pretty self-regenerative, and of course we still have emotional spectrum. We could still feel ups and downs, feel sad, weep. There are angels that weep, believe it or not, even on the 7th, 8th, and 9th dimension, but they don't feel physical pain like we do because they don't have a corporal physical body of flesh and bones.
Yeah, and they have certainly learned how to create pain for those flesh and bones in many ways with some of the things that they've done to us. and to the planet. So if we're running up on time, and I know you have another interview coming up, so I would wonder if there's some last things that you would like to say to the audience for regarding your book, or regarding what to expect in the near future, or what
Yeah, nothing big is going to happen on the 8th of April, but it's always best to be prepared. Definitely not the rapture, right? That's propaganda being pushed by the fundamentalist religious. And if you guys get this book, again, this is the prequel to our Cosmic Origin. This book is as mind-opening as our Cosmic Origin book, or more so, because of the fact that I revealed the whole history of this battle between what I call the two brotherhoods, the White Knights and the Dark Hats. It's an age-old plot that actually, if you want to be technical, it is the same battle that was taking place in the heavens between Michael and Lucifer.
It's an age-old battle that just continues.
Yeah, that is now coming to an end. And you could actually order this book through Amazon. Just make sure you type in The Secret Government, Invisible Architects, Secrets, Power, and Lies. Or what I could do is, did I give you my link? You could always place it in the description.
Yes, I can. I will do that. I'll place it in the description, the link for the book. But you can go to Amazon and find it.
A lot of people have been waiting for this book for over 2 years, ever since I came to the scene.
Well, thank you so much, Ismael, and I really appreciate you coming on the show. And
thank you, Gail. Appreciate that.
Oh, anytime. Thank you. And I'll let you go here shortly so you can make your other meeting and tell others, so more people can be informed about what's really going on our planet. But we're at the precipice of change for the better.
Absolutely. This is the Great Awakening. It's time to take off the training wheels. It's time to take off the badges and just go deep in the rabbit hole. All right.
Yeah. All righty. Thank you. I'll let you go then. And thank everyone. Thank you for listening. And Ismael has to go to another interview, and we'll see you all again. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are, and like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers, stronger than ever. Never say never. Don't look back now, don't look back now. Stand with each other. We are sisters and brothers, fighting our place and running the race. We'll take our chance and seize the moment. Hold on tight and don't let go of all your hopes and dreams that light the way. We control our fate. Destiny awaits. We are all the actors in the stories we create. Hope will be our guide. We'll no longer hide. When we roll like thunder, feel the wonder from inside. This is the time we form chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show